Several years ago, Little Richard, and it's about 2, 3 decades ago now, was out on Sunset Boulevard, and also before some of the major record producers in Hollywood and California protesting. And his protest was that he had made all this great music, Long Tall Sally, Lucille, and all that great music that Keith Richards, the Beatles, and a whole lot of other people launched their careers listening to Little Richard. And I suppose 40 years after, he had not received the kind of royalties that he should have. And when he protested, Michael Jackson, I think, gave him $500,000 or something like that. Little Richard was poor, he was broke, he was in obscurity, but his songs were still just as meaningful and relevant then as they are now, and as they were when they first came off the recording studio. And Michael Jackson, along with I think Keith Richards and others, got together and demanded that Little Richard get paid for his record, because they were playing his music, and the producers and the owner of his music, they were making tons of money. And I think Michael Jackson, if I'm not mistaken, gave Little Richard his library of Beatles music, because he had bought the Beatles music. You check me on that. I could be a little off on that one. What I'm trying to say is that Little Richard, who had made a tremendous contribution to rock and roll, to the Beach Boys, to Keith Richards, to the Beatles, to the Turtles, to Bob Dylan, to Elvis Presley, to Pat Boone, to all the big names people, but he himself never got paid for the work that he did. And I think they decided to give him some money. I know Michael Jackson gave him a chunk, and others, I think Keith Richards gave him a chunk, and he finally was able to revive his life, but his music still lives. Jenny, 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 Lucille! Lord, that music, every time I hear it, I get chills. I was a barefoot boy down in North Carolina, barefoot, dancing around with no shoes on, my a pair of pants that were not short, they were just raggedy, and a straw hat on, and a t-shirt. You should have seen me out there in the fields when I heard that Jenny, 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 Lucille, wop, baba, loo, baba, lop, bop, bam, tutti frutti, oh, my looty, tutti frutti, oh, my looty, wop, baba, loo, baba, lop, bop, bam, ow! Lord, have mercy, those were the days. Now, the reason why this is important is because I want to make an appeal to the Urban Dictionary. I do. First of all, I want to thank y'all. I want to thank y'all for several years ago when God gave me the phrase, the long-legged Mac Daddy, that it swept across America like Tutti Frutti. It swept across America like Long Tall Sally. And y'all put it in the Urban Dictionary. It became memorialized. It became memorialized. It became a statement that all historians need to understand when you talk about the language of the urban community and how to understand the urban people. The long-legged Mac Daddy is a phrase that was born in an urban society in Harlem. And the man who coined that phrase was James David Manning. Thank y'all. Thank you for doing that. Thank you. It will never die. Thank you for long-legged Mac Daddy. Even people who don't like the fact that I said it, there's something about it it is so poetic. There's something about it that you just can't walk away from it when you hear it and you understand to whom it has been attached. But that won't all. I kept right on dealing with the Lord. And he came back with another phrase and identified the house Negroes that had been from Uncle Tom's Cabin to Gone with the Wind. House Negro. Everybody knew about the house Negro until I came along with the phrase, the pinch nose Negro. It supplanted the house Negro. Now, rather than call him the house Negro, call him the pinch nose. He's a modern day version of Uncle Tom's Cabin. He's a modern day version of Gone with the Wind. He's now the pinch nose Negro. And y'all caught that one. Caught it. Caught it from me, a preacher in Harlem. and memorialize it in the dictionary. It'll be there forever. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it. But I have one other thing I want to say to y'all from the Urban Dictionary, your staff and your supporters and promoters and everybody else. You've done the world a disservice. Yeah, you have. Because the same God that spoke the long-legged Mac Daddy to me and the pinch-nosed Negro also spoke Tribulation Trump, Donald John Trump, the trigger of the tribulation. And you need to post it. You need to post it. Now, I know y'all falling out of love with me, and, you know, when the long-legged Mac Daddy went forward and the pinch-nosed Negro went forward, you didn't recognize my biblical position against LGBTQ. But now you know the LGBTQ people rule the damn world. If you live in the white people's world, if you live in Euro America, the LGBT rule. Talking about police brutality, you ain't seen no brutality. So you have to roll up against one of these LGBTQ people who want you to recognize their transgender, who want you to recognize their cross-dressing, who want you to recognize their same-sex love and marriage. They want you, and if you don't, you're a criminal and a hater. And so now that that label's been put on me, y'all don't go with me no more. You don't march with me no more. But you're doing the world a disservice. You by not identifying Trump as the tribulation, as the trigger of the tribulation, by not identifying him as Tribulation Trump, you're doing the world a disservice. The world needs to know about it. I'm appealing to y'all at the Urban Dictionary. Can I come out and talk to y'all? And I promise not to inflict myself upon you any further. I'm not putting on a big. I'm doing a little Richard thing here. I ain't putting on no big. I'm just telling you like it is. Y'all need to go ahead now and put Tribulation Trump in the Urban Dictionary. Coined by James David Manning, a preacher up in Harlem. I'm 40 years here in Harlem. 40 years! And yet God has used me once again. Don't keep this information from the public. It ought to be a part of, especially now Trump's world is getting ready to crumble, and he's getting ready to start perhaps the most destructive period in America, worse than the Civil War, worse than the Revolutionary War, worse than all of Jim Crow and slavery put together. This man's getting ready to stir it up. And you do a disservice without identifying him with the biblical narrative about the tribulation. You're doing the world a disservice, Urban Dictionary. You're doing the world a disservice. New Yorker Magazine, Washington Post, Wall Street Journal, New York Times. You're doing the world a disservice if you don't tell them he's the tribulation. If you don't put Tribulation Trump in your dictionary, you're doing the world a disservice. You're casting them into darkness, and you're keeping them as your instrument, literary instrument, or be an instrument of enlightenment. You'll close the door. Several years ago, and I'll promise not to inflict myself truly on you any further, the New York Times sent a budding young writer named Williams to come to talk to me in Harlem because I'd launched a word from God called no dew nor rain. You might want to put that in the dictionary too, but I'm not making an appeal for that. But I called for no dew nor rain in Harlem. I did. And when the New York Times heard about it, they sent one of their reporters up here in the urban tradition, and he sat and talked with me for hours about who I am, where I've come from. And they later published an article. I believe the engineer will bring it up in just a minute. They later published an article in the New York Times. So I have been published in the Times. I have been published in the Wall Street Journal. I mean, in the Urban Dictionary. But they published, they said I was trying to destroy, I was on a mission to destroy Harlem. I let that go. Because at least they gave me credit for the no dew nor rain. So we got statements from God. And I'm asking y'all, do what the New York Times did. Put Tribulation Trump in your dictionary. And then for all of the members of the ATLAH Church that follow and support and pray for my well-being, these are the kinds of accomplishments that God has wrought. He has wrought no dew nor rain. It will remain. Even today, you can go out on the street and speak to the people of the community. No dew, nor rain in Harlem. Powerful movement. And then after that, there was after that was a long-legged Mac Daddy. They got it there? Where's it at? Oh no! Oh no! Oh, I'm sure enough I'm too tired tongue to talk. They put it in there. Look at you, man, and you don't even know what's going on in your own life. Well, I do declare, ain't that I didn't set this up. Oh my God. They done put Tribulation Trump in there. Well, I'm too through. Well, I don't know what to say now. I'm too through. Eschatology. Oh Lord, they done got theological on us. You got to explain what that eschatology means to the whole lot of people. Lord have mercy, they done it a third time. Thank you, Jesus. I want it. Yeah, I've got a day plan on blasting the Urban Dictionary for not informing the world. But you see, I was right. The name Tribulation Trump, when was it posted? Can we see? It was posted when? In June of 2018. That whole thing is, next week it'll be 2 years old. Well, Lord, I'm too through. I don't know if I can do any more broadcasts today. I am too put out. I am too put out. But I'm going to post this anyway. All right? Lord have mercy. So let me say to everybody that's a follower and supporter of me, and you know, people, your family members have talked about me and called me a cursor and a blasphemer and on and on and on and on and on. They got the orange-haired orangutan in there too. Oh Lord, have mercy. Oh Lord, I don't know what to say now. I don't know what to say. They done put all my stuff out there, and now it's in the dictionary to be memorialized forever. Oh, I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed. I feel like doing Little Richard now. I'm ashamed. Lord, look at that. Look what. So it's everybody who has been supportive of me and stayed with me, and you know, I catch it all the time. But I'm good. I'm good to go. You know that. I'm good to go. This is a bit of a news blog we do, looking at spiritual wickedness in high places for the most part, making some observations about it and giving people a biblical foundation to the way of interpreting, rather than have Sean Hannity or Laura Ingraham or Janine Pirro or Anderson Cooper or Rachel Maddow or Don Lemon, Rush Limbaugh interpret what's going on in the world. You come to me and I'll tell you based on what the Word of God says. They'll just give you their worldly, sinful view. But the Manning Report will tell you what God has said, whether to say yea or nay, whether to go or to stay. You'll be led by the word of Almighty God. Come to the Manning Report on a daily basis to interpret the spiritual wickedness in high places, because there's plenty of it that's going on. And so I'm the Lord's servant, James David Righteous Rebel Manning, and I'm here to serve you with news and information.